It is December the 1st. And you know what that means? It's Star Wars month! That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the same month that the next Star Wars film hits theaters. It is 16 days until The Force Awakens hits theaters, and we're talking about it right now.
Falcon flight with destiny, headlong into the fight. Birds of a feather, well weathered together, chasing the dark from the night. Falcon flight with destiny, headlong into the fight. Birds of a feather, well weathered together, chasing the dark from the night.
Oh, goodness, it is Star Wars Tonight. That nightly countdown podcast that we've all come to love as we pass the time to The Force Awakens hitting theaters. I'm super excited to be talking about the cast of Star Wars and kind of where we stand as they start to hit these late night shows and more. But I'd like to bring in Steve Glosson to the program.
That's me.
That's you.
That's me.
How's it going, man?
It's going good. How are you, sir?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. It gets better every day.
I was going to say, you're doing better than you were last week about this time.
What was I doing last week about this time?
You were staring 90 updates in the face.
90 updates. Oh, I forgot about that. It's one of those things that I just forced out of my memory.
You were staring 90 updates in the face. We did a 20-minute show, and then you recorded an hour and a half with Rifen.
This is true. Well, I mean, I like to think that it was the great Glosson protest that I think really politically. I mean, political activism is important. It's not just about what you do on the voting booth on Tuesday. It's about the finding your cause. And Steve, you've won. Because you and literally everybody listening who emailed or tweeted us was like, yes, go longer. So whenever we can, which includes this evening, fortunately, we have more free reign to go long. There will be a few evenings where I can't, but Steve, fortunately for you, we've got time.
Well, I will point out Roku Depot left a review of one of the episodes, one of the first episodes we did of this together, and they said that basically what they said of me was Steve is so used to long form that the short form's really a challenge. And I was like, that's true.
On point there at Roku Depot. Man, I'm very excited to be back, and I feel like I do feel a little bit less pressure. I don't feel like I need to just hey, we're going to talk about this now, and that which gives us time to talk about our sponsor, Steve. We have a sponsor.
That's what I hear.
In fact, we have one of my favorite apps to use on the road, Waze, sponsoring this episode of the Star Wars Tonight podcast. I almost did it, Steve. I almost went Star Wars Report. I keep going there. But all week long, we're helping Waze promote this really cool Star Wars skin that they've overlaid on their GPS app. So if you go to waze.com/download for Android or iOS, you can download the app and then opt into this amazing protocol droid navigator that you will receive. And Steve, today's Waze story is Riley driving back from Georgia Tech after a long day of ROTC, and there are just police everywhere, all the way down through Riverdale. This is hyper local. This is the most local radio type thing ever. But seriously, there are police everywhere. But every time you drive down the highway, it's like, oh my, police reported ahead. This is all your fault. And it just cracks me up because
that's what they do. That's what it does. That's what
Anthony Daniels does in your car speakers when you're using the Waze app and the Star Wars skin on the GPS. So again, go to waze.com/download or go to starwarsreport.com/WazeGPS, and we've got a really cool blog post there talking about some of the goodies that you get, like seeing all the other Waze users who are also opting in. You see them as little X-Wings and TIE fighters zooming along the highway. So it's awesome.
That's cool. I haven't checked it out because I use the Google Maps so much
Well, I'm telling you, man, it's well, and that's the thing about Waze is because it's basically user inputted. It's crowdsourced traffic info, so that's where you get live updates. It's sort of like our good friend Justin Robert Young characterized it once as sort of like trying to, if you want to pretend like you're in a Die Hard movie, driving through Los Angeles during traffic hour, use Waze because you're literally like darting through all the back streets. But that's again. Oh, sorry.
I said that's nice. That's awesome.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And again, go to waze.com/download for the app itself. Now, and we appreciate them supporting the show this week. It's really cool of them. So, especially with a small, limited run podcast like this. So, tell you what, folks, that's let's get in straight into our topic. Steve, I texted you a little earlier today because I was trying to think of a good topic as we're getting into the closing 2 weeks until The Force Awakens hits theaters. And I feel like this past week has just been so jam-packed with media appearances of all kind. We've had all kinds of magazine covers. We're getting now late-night talk show appearances. We're getting in-depth interviews with George Lucas on the Washington Post. We'll get on that later. But I wanted to talk a little bit about, now that we're seeing this cast make the interview circuits, we're getting, I think, a much better idea of who these folks are. And I kind of wanted to kick off our discussion, Steve, by reminding you the very first time we ever podcasted in person down in Hazlehurst, Georgia.
Right.
You brought up, we were talking about the announcement and the big three, quote unquote, returning. And I remember distinctly like being that guy. I was that guy who brought up concerns like, well, is it really, like when you talk about Carrie and Mark, are they really best fit to embody the characters now, all these years later? I was that guy. It's a jerk move. I'll be the first to admit it. But I was legitimately kind of like nervous about it. Fast forward to today, you see what's going on with the entire cast on these late night shows. I don't know about you, Steve, but I'm absolutely falling in love with them and falling in love with them again when it comes to the originals.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's the thing. Harrison Ford has almost found new life. It's crazy. He knows how to play the game, or he's really happy to be back in this role. He's almost like he's found new life. Carrie Fisher is Carrie Fisher, and you know and J.J. Abrams has had some fun anecdotes that he's been sharing as well, as far as I liked his story he told a little bit back about how nervous he was to show the Disney higher-ups the rough cut of The Force Awakens
I bet.
without effects and everything. And he was just talking about how nervous he was, and when they got through, everyone was happy with it, and they said it was really good. And then he said, so then I started doubting myself, thinking, well, they were just being nice. And I just want to be like, that's cute, because no one with this kind of money riding on this kind of movie is going to just say, yeah, that's really good, just to be nice to you.
No.
What world does J.J. Abrams live in that he thinks people can spend $4 billion just to be nice?
No. One, it's interesting on the whole other aspect of like when we're talking about the rough cuts, and we're hearing about some of the folks who haven't seen the film, and you had the news recently that Steven Spielberg has seen the film, and he's waxing eloquent about how this is going to be the greatest movie of all time, which is, by the way, got to really help J.J. Abrams and trying to manage the expectations at this point.
Right. Well, here's my expectations, Riley, if I can be honest, about the movie are managed, because I watched a movie called Creed last night at the time of this recording, and so far it's my favorite movie of the year, and Star Wars has got a long way to go evoke the emotional response that I had during this movie, Creed. Now, Riley, I know that you're not well versed in the whole Rocky universe.
I am not,
and we need to rectify that. But I will say this: that if there were no Star Wars, Rocky would be my Star Wars. I'm very much into the Rocky franchise. I love it. I think it's one of the most well-crafted set of series of movies, and story-wise and character development along. It has a few continuity issues here and there from movie to movie, but overall, the character of Rocky and the people surrounding him is just fantastically done. and Creed kind of continues on in that universe with a new character. Almost Creed
I
is
saw
kind
Steve.
of the
I
Force
saw you.
Awakens.
I was just gonna say I saw you tweet one Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, I've never tweeted a celebrity before in my life.
I was gonna say that's
And
not
I'm
a
like,
Steve thing to do.
That's right, and that's how taken I was with this movie. And I'm telling you, I don't care what Steven Spielberg says, that The Force Awakens has a long way to go to outdo Creed as far as the emotional response that I had to that movie last night. So
Wow.
my expectations are very managed right now.
Well, that you're probably in a good place because mine are not, because I've given up. I can no longer be objective about this movie. I just want it in my life.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you're just gonna say?
I was going to say, I know that we're wanting to talk about some of the cast behind their back or whatever, but before we do that, I want to mention, having listened through some of the other episodes of Star Wars Tonight, because not only am I a host, I'm a listener. One of the things that's been said and brought up is this idea of the expectations we talked about. Is this movie going to be the cultural phenomenon that Star Wars was originally in 1977? I maintain there's no way that it can be.
I remember we mentioned that
because-
briefly right as we were closing the episode last week.
Yeah, and then I heard you continue on with other people in that conversation.
I want it to. I want it to be maybe not in the same way, but maybe a similar level. I want the world to breathe Star Wars again in a way that I've never gotten to experience. I maybe I'm being a little unfair in my expectations or hopes and dreams, but I want it. I want it to happen, Steve.
Well, probably to that I'll say this: just go to the grocery store, because it's there. The world is doing it right now. The fact that you're seeing all these appearances and all this press being done, that as we talked about on my first time out on Star Wars Tonight, the marketing that's being done. I maintain that the marketing now is bigger than it was for the Phantom Menace. You just, and I know there's some people who've taken me to task a little bit on Twitter over that, saying that no, I don't think it is. But I think they're looking more at the Hasbro side of things, just with the toys and the Midnight Madness and stuff. There is not the cross promotion between all the different brands of things, branding their stuff with Star Wars over and over again. The Disney marketing machine is huge. People are breathing Star Wars. It is in casual conversation. It's just a matter of making sure that you're actually experiencing it, rather than, and I don't mean to get on to you on your show, but rather than just sitting back hoping to experience it. You've got to actually go out because it's happening now. But as far as the cultural impact, it's not going to be what it was in 77. I don't think the world is going to change after December 18th. That's not to say that this movie is going to be not good. That's not to say I'm not excited about it. It's just to say that what that original Star Wars was something incredibly special. Right time, right place, right story.
Yeah.
And it just it could never be the same again. This movie doesn't happen if it's not for Star Wars. Star Wars came out of nowhere, and that's going to be the next big pop cultural shift, is when something comes out of nowhere. And that's hard to do cinematically right now, because everything are reboots, remakes, and sequels.
Yeah.
And for better or for worse. And sometimes they hit in a big bad way, like Creed hit me in a huge way. And then sometimes they hit and it's good, but I can leave it in the theater and not really think about it too much again, such as Jurassic World. What I took away from Jurassic World was not so much how great the movie was, but how great a time I had seeing it with you and Bethany. So, I think that The Force Awakens, we're going to build our experience around going to see this movie and being there on opening night and all the good times we'll have with friends, but it's already in the bloodstream of the popular culture, because I can't go anywhere and run into anyone who remotely knows me without them bringing up Star Wars, because everyone's fully aware of it right now.
Yeah.
I just,
it's so true. I
feel
was,
like
I think Steve, we are on the same page, because
right.
I was with this last I guess it was Sunday. Yeah, this last Sunday evening I was up in Atlanta meeting with some of our ROTC folks. We're wrapping up the semester, and we're just kind of doing business. We went to a burger joint up in Atlanta near Midtown, and around the table, the first thing that comes up, conversation's already started because I was there. Me and Bethany arrived a few minutes late. Was Star Wars, and everyone was talking about where they were going to see it, who they were seeing it with, and what theater, and how they had all already pre-ordered tickets. And these are just normal college student millennial ROTC cadets.
We're up to $100 million now in pre-sales, aren't we?
I haven't checked the latest numbers. The last one I saw was 50 million, which was still insane.
I heard a podcast where someone had dropped the $100 million.
I mean, it wouldn't
number.
surprise me. And I think, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking out loud here, but I think that I don't know that I'm looking for the cultural impact of the original. But if I pause and consider what you've said and what we're seeing around us, I think the universe of Star Wars has surrounded and penetrated us and bound us together in a way.
Yeah. The thing is it's back. It's
Yeah.
back in a big way. And that's really due in part to the Disney marketing machine. I mean, the fact that I can go to a Dollar General and there's Star Wars merchandise,
Yeah.
that's something that's never been the case, But Disney gets into these places with, in some instances, cheaper made merchandise, a little bit different type of licensing going on, but all the same, it's there. It's in the bloodstream of the pop culture again, and so what I'm glad is that you're getting to experience that, because you didn't get to experience that with the prequels, and so I'm glad you're getting to experience that. And also, what you're also getting to experience is a much more positive vibe. You're getting to experience that episode 1 positive vibe, because leading into the Phantom Menace, everyone was super excited. A few months after the Phantom Menace, everyone had turned vehemently against George Lucas and company. What was really interesting, though, is Attack of the Clones. Once again, everyone got excited, but it was all based on expectation. I remember some really well-done fan-made trailers out there for episodes 2 and 3. And this was the kind of stuff that people were wanting to see and expecting, and that's not what they got. So they were, they went home crying about how George Lucas doesn't know how to tell a story.
Yeah.
And so everyone now is kind of on the same boat. And unfortunately, there's some of those people like, well, I'm glad George isn't a part of it anymore, and so they're excited about it. And then there are people who are old school fans who are excited about it. There are people who are just Star Wars fans who are excited about it. And so, you're getting to experience this fun wave. And I'm glad that you're getting to do that, because it is exciting. It is fun. And all these guest appearances and everything just kind of play into that, because we do get to see these actors who we don't know, for the most part. We may or may not be familiar with anything they've done. And in the case of someone like Daisy Ridley, she's never really done anything. And so, we get to know them and we get to see their personality off screen. And it's fun. It's fun to get to know these people and watch them kind of squirm at certain questions and just get to know their personalities a little bit and see their excitement.
No, absolutely. It's an exciting time. And you're right, Steve. I didn't get to really experience that with the prequels, and for that matter, most of the people that I spend around, that I spend time with outside of the Star Wars internet land, are people who, they were like 4 or 5 years old when the Phantom Menace came out, right? Even their consciousness, they're born in like 96, so it's just kind of it's a different crowd, I think, that is going to be. Maybe not crowd's the right word, but I think there's a whole new dimension of the audience that Star Wars can reach. And I think, if anything, if there is a unique part of the way this movie impacts culture, I think it is in a broader, more multi-generational sense. And I really hope that's the case. I think that would be incredible. I want to take a brief moment and plug something that we're doing this weekend on the program before we jump into our full discussion, and that is watch parties. We are every night broadcasting on Twitch at StarWarsReport.com/live. We were kind of experimenting with it in the last couple weeks. We did our Revenge of the Sith live stream this past weekend, and coming this Saturday and Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're doing live Star Wars watch parties. It's Star Wars and Empire, and it'll be Riley rebuilding his old Lego sets that he pulled out of storage, and it'll be us kind of talking about the movie, and we're going to have a great time. So I'm super excited about it. Mark it on your calendars. We'll be setting up a Facebook event on our Facebook page very soon. Make sure you RSVP. We'll get you the links and all that stuff to participate and how we can sync up and watch the Star Wars movies together in anticipation for The Force Awakens. Steve, you doing anything this Saturday?
Yeah, I've got some stuff going on. I'd love to be able to sit in with you guys, but I don't think I'll be able to. What kind of Lego sets have you pulled out of storage? What was young Riley rocking in the Legos?
Well, I'm glad you asked, sir. If you're watching on the live stream or the video version on the Star Wars Report YouTube page, I'm holding out a Naboo Starfighter.
Nice.
But really, the largest portion of Lego collectibles I have are from 2005, the Revenge of the Sith sets. I got a number of them for my birthday and for Christmas that year. That was kind of the first year that I was really getting into Star Wars. I want to say that was within a year of me having within 2 years of me having first seen the films. So it was. I've got a lot of Revenge of the Sith sets. I've got the Boga? Yeah, Boga. The Boga versus Grievous's weird spinny thing. We've got actually my favorite piece might just be the giant box of half-constructed Episode 1 Lego sets that my mom found at a yard sale probably 2 or 3 years ago, and I forgot existed. And they have the instructions with them, and I think they're intact. So we will find out as I try to construct them this weekend while watching Star Wars movies.
You think the instructions aren't you? So you think you have all the pieces?
I think I do.
Nice. Well, that's exciting. Now see, that's the kind of stuff I want to tune in for, is to watch you build Legos. That to me, because it's like I can watch Star Wars anytime, but to sit there and hang out while you're building Legos and talk about, oh, that looks cool, that looks great. It's the collectible bug that's once again caught me, and I actually bought my first Star Wars Lego set the other week.
Oh, which one was it? I think you mentioned it, but I totally blanked.
I actually splurged and bought the Ghost, the big Lego set, because it was on clearance.
Nice.
And the price was slashed incredibly. That and the Phantom, and they connect together. And because Hasbro's not going to do a Ghost, I'm like, this will be the only way I can get it. So I haven't put it together yet, but I've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel of doing some toy reviews and unboxing and unpackaging some Star Wars type toys and everything.
That's huge, man. I mean, even that, we're going to be posting videos of these live streams and stuff on the Star Wars Report YouTube page. We've been kind of promoting it more recently. But that I do it, man. I'd love to see that kind of stuff. People love kind of you interacting and sharing the experience, because in this age of the internet, we can do it. All you need is.
Well, I had a blast with Instagram after Force Friday.
Yes.
I had a blast with Instagram, unpackaging everything and taking pictures and posting it. So
well, and Steve, I'm becoming a huge fan of this Twitch platform. I think it's really cool, and it's the first time that broadcasting video that can actually capture other monitors so that I can have video guests and that sort of thing has actually been accessible for someone who doesn't have a $3,000 computer. Because Twitch and open broadcasting software have a really streamlined way to do video, which is the whole thing that allows us to do Star Wars Tonight Live and doing these live streams. So I'm tickled that this kind of technology is coming along.
Well, I have a face for radio.
Well, I want everyone who is watching this version on YouTube, which is a small percentage of you guys, but more of you should, subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/user/Star Wars Report. And I want you to see the smiling face of Steve Glosson on the picture that I have, the still picture. Because this is not unlike Fox News or CNN style. I just need a ticker bar of Star Wars news at the bottom, and then it's like on the phone, Steve Glosson.
Yes, you should get that. You should make that happen. That'd be amazing.
Oh, yes, it would. Yes, it would. All right, well, let's listen to Daisy Ridley, because I have a clip of her, and she's beautiful. I don't know why we're listening, but here we go.
Things.
You read a play. Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
And so he told me, and obviously I was not there for the whole first half, and then had to go back into the second half and not tell the guy I was with.
Oh, because it was a secret, and you didn't
and it was
trust
Oedipus
him.
Rex, so it was long.
Does he now know you were keeping that from him during the play?
No.
No, he does not.
No.
Well, maybe he now does. Yes. Adam,
That is how Daisy Ridley found out that she got the part. And some
get
poor
the idea
guy
that-
was
I
stranded
get the
in the
idea that-
theater. I have a feeling he was a little suckered there.
Yeah, I get the idea that she's no longer with that person, which makes me very happy.
You and
Because-
Carl Leclerc.
Oh, I'll fight Carl for Daisy.
Good.
Carl's got a girlfriend.
That's true. He's
Get
taken.
Carl.
You know who's not
Yeah.
taken? Wait a second.
Riley Blank.
No, seriously.
He's single, ladies.
Well, what's funny is she's not single, and I do know this fact, which makes me sad. But what's funny is it's the most British version of a casting story announcement. So I was watching Oedipus Rex with my one-time boyfriend, who I dumped theatrically when he couldn't take my success. I'm just inserting what my storyline is, oh man, I don't know. There's something about Daisy Ridley. Her personality-wise, she's very British.
She's just so sweet. She's very sweet. She comes across as very much. She is loving this experience. And obviously it's going to be her performance in the film that dictates whether or not she branches out beyond Star Wars after this. The days, obviously people are still typecast and everything, but the days of not being able to get work because you're known strictly as this other person are kind of gone.
Yeah.
And if you're able to get out there and do the work to constantly do the acting work to redefine yourself and be what you need to be for casting directors and everything, her personality alone should get her through a lot of doors. She's just a sweet, sweet person. I love the fact she's enjoying this ride leading up to this movie.
Absolutely. And the new cast, they seem to have such a chemistry that's so important when you're kicking off a Star Wars film, because that's largely, at least in my view, what made the original so incredible was the interaction between Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, and Princess Leia, and to a lesser extent Chewbacca. May he ever get his medal. But seriously, that's so important to capture in the world of Star Wars. You have to have a kind of chemistry that can be both fast-paced, intense, you have conflict, but also be funny. I mean, there's so many elements that you have to get right if you really want to get the perfect mix of what makes a Star Wars movie great. And I think so far we're seeing that, especially in one, John Boyega.
losing it?
Absolutely. I have to say, through the audition process, we didn't get to take the script home. So we had to go to Pinewood and learn our lines and then go home. I felt like I was living a double life like Batman. It was a real situation. So to have the script on the read-through was
You got
fantastic.
to learn your lines?
Did.
And John came in like 8 or 9 times to audition. It was a long process.
Oh, thank you, JJ.
8 or 9 times.
No, but it was a long process. I feel guilty. I must say.
Adam, you are in a helmet in the.
All right, so that's John Boyega, everybody. I think someone who I think is more aware of what he's gotten himself into. He seems to appreciate the enormity of the world he is plunging into, and he is plunging into the deep end.
I think that if you, and I've not heard him say this anywhere, I think he's a little bit of a Star Wars fan before he ever got this movie. And so I think that's part of his thing. I think he's almost the Ewan McGregor. Because if you watch some of those behind-the-scenes documentaries from Episode 1, Ewan McGregor was just pumped to the gills to be a part of Star Wars. And I think that it's the same thing with John Boyega.
Absolutely.
And this dude, he's got a great personality. He's so much fun to watch. I've enjoyed watching like he and Daisy at Force Friday. I've enjoyed watching their reaction videos and stuff. And he's eating this experience up and having a blast.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that as you see how dynamic they are in front of the public as ambassadors for this film, which is what they are, I think it could easily come off as kind of forced. But it doesn't. Their excitement seems very genuine. I love this little story that John Boyega told about him getting the part.
thing was telling my dad. So I went home and I was like, Dad, I've just been cast in Star Wars. And he was just like, oh my God, you are in Star Wars? That is fantastic, I knew it. What is Star Wars?
But like he's playing the crowd. He's like he's owning in terms of charisma of the 5 who are on and behind the couch on the set of the Jimmy Kimmel show. John Boyega is the one who's carrying the charisma. He's kind of commanding the audience.
Yeah, he's well. Again, I think it comes down to being the most excited to be in this thing. Oscar Isaac, who is great, he was on the Nerdist not long before Force Friday, and I was listening to his interview, and he's got a lot of experience already in Hollywood. He's landed a few roles here and there, so he's taken all this in stride. Not that he's not enjoying the ride, not that he's not excited and glad to be a part of it, but he's taken it much more in stride than the rest of the guys are, in the sense that he's almost like the Harrison Ford of this new crew.
Yes.
Where he's got a little more age on him, he's a little older, a little wiser, and so he's kind of keeping everything in check out there for everyone as he talks about stuff and everything. But Boyega is just like, forget you guys. I'm going to love every minute of this experience.
Absolutely. It's a very I don't know. I think that they're a very dynamic group of folks, and I couldn't be more excited to, now that I've kind of seen them interact with fandom and interact now with the larger public. I can't wait to see them actually interact with each other on screen. So that's going to be a great time. Well, folks, I think that's going to put the wraps on this episode of Star Wars Tonight. Again, huge thanks to Waze, the amazing Star Wars GPS app that allows C-3PO to become your co-pilot. We appreciate them sponsoring this week's episodes of Star Wars Tonight. If you want to get in contact with us, shoot us an email at starwarstonight@gmail.com. I want to send out a huge congratulations to, as I pull up the email, huge congratulations to our recent iTunes giveaway winners. We have Red 5 Mom, who's in the chat now. We have Mike and Craig, and they've all been leaving us recent reviews. If you're listening to this program and you've not left us an iTunes review, or you have and haven't emailed us, every day we're doing giveaways, posters, books. I'm going to be giving away the Phantom Menace storybook that I've had for some time. So, yes, I'm very excited. It's going to be a very good time. So make sure you leave us a review, and then just email me your username, and I have something very special to send to everybody who's leaving us iTunes reviews. Really appreciate you guys getting the word out and really helping make this a iTunes-wide global phenomenon as we count down the days to The Force Awakens hitting theaters. Also, don't forget this weekend, head to facebook.com/Star Wars Report and RSVP to our special live watch party of Star Wars A New Hope. It's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern on Saturday the 5th. It's going to be a great time. Steve, thanks so much for coming on, man. Where do you want to send folks who are listening to this very program? We've got new folks joining us each and every week, so where should folks go if they are interested in hearing what Steve has to say about stuff?
If for some reason you're interested to hear anything else that I have to say, head over to geekoutpodcast.com. You'll see a whole slew of podcasts, of which I'm a part over there. And thank you guys for checking it out.
Awesome sauce, man. All right, final thing. We will be back tomorrow as we finish off 2 weeks remaining until The Force Awakens hits theaters. May the Force be with you. Those Ewoks get me every time, man.
Dude, is that like the Muppets version of that song? Because that sounds like the freaking Electric Mayhem playing that.
It does. It's some group called Perry Grip that did this remix. It's on YouTube. I've already had people emailing like, "What is that song?" But yeah, you can find them on YouTube, and I wonder if it's on iTunes. It might be. I don't know if they could sell a remix like that or not. But it's awesome. That's all I know.
It's got a very Muppets feel to it.
It kind of does, man. It kind of does. All right, well, let me stop our video edition, and I say farewell to all of you guys watching live and on YouTube. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.